It's the 90th Annual Academy Awards, and Stella and I have watched all the nominated films. Statistically, we're going to talk about all those who have been honored by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences in a special 9-part series. If the screenplay is the blueprint, we're talking about the architects, not just the writers, but also the directors. Let's start off with Best Adapted Screenplay. So first up on the chopping block is Molly's Game. It's Aaron Sorkin, 3 nominations, 1 win. This is based on the memoir Molly's Game, the true story of the 26-year-old woman behind the most exclusive high-stakes underground poker game in the world by Molly Bloom.
Wonderful.
Yeah, Aaron Sorkin's best known for his television work. He basically wrote every single word off of West Wing up until, I think, the last season, and he wrote every word of Sports Night, and he wrote every word. Anything he does, he writes all of it.
It was sharp. Molly, I mean, there was no wasted dialogue.
Yeah, and I think Molly Bloom is the perfect subject for Aaron Sorkin to take on because she talks the way Aaron Sorkin writes, at least in this movie.
She's smart. Well, yeah, I mean, they also cover in the movie how intelligent this character is. This person is. So
Absolutely. Next up is Call Me By Your Name. This is James Ivory. 4 nominations. This is based on the novel Call Me By Your Name by Andre Aciman. Or Aciman. Or
Ahman.
I don't know.
Ahman. I don't know. Whatever.
All right. I guess it's time to talk about Call Me By Your Name. I'm sure we'll
No,
talk...
it's not. We're going to talk about it during...
Talk about it during Best Picture?
Yes.
Okay, so one thing that they did change in this, though, is the age difference between the two characters.
Because it's
Yeah, they never say how old Armie Hammer is supposed to be, but he doesn't look 24. He doesn't look like a grad student. And
yeah, he looks like he's in his 30s.
And Timothy says his name is 17.
He says his name is 17?
He
He's
says
an
his
android
age.
from
I'm
Dragon
sorry.
Ball Z. He's 17?
I was trying to think of whether I should say his name in the movie. I was trying to figure out which name to call him by. Chalamet, Timothy Chalamet is the actor's name. Allele, I believe, is the character's name, and he says he's 17 in the movie. So it's a little awkward. But we'll talk about that later. As far as adaptation, from what I understand, it's a pretty wonderful adaptation beyond that. The Disaster Artist, this is Scott Neustadter and Michael Weber. It's their first nomination for both. It's based on the book The Disaster Artist by Greg Sestero and Tom Bissell. There's a lot of changes between the two. It's interesting because watching that movie, and we can't talk about this because it's not nominated for anything else. People thought James Franco would be nominated for doing a Tommy Wiseau
really
impersonation.
Glad he's not.
But I don't know. I felt like it was a bunch of Hollywood elitists taking punches down at somebody who, and that's why Tommy doesn't look comfortable at most of these awards things when they make jokes about him. It's really punching down at somebody who tried to make a movie.
You don't try to make bad movies. I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? Whenever you're going to go out and make an album, you're going to make a movie, whatever. You're not trying to make bad art.
Right, and I think this guy clearly has something going on emotionally, and that's
something
the weird part about it. That's the weird thing about his movie. What's interesting, though, is that watching the movie, I felt like it was sort of a character assassination, and from what I understand, the book is a straight-up character assassination.
There's a book?
That's adapted screenplay, yeah. It's based on the book. I just literally... Audience, you're paying more attention than she is. But anyway...
I guess I'm so taken aback that there was a movie in the first place that I'm just like, a book too? Ah.
Yeah, they took a lot of the really big jabs out of the movie, actually. I wasn't really a fan of it. I'd never seen The Room.
I feel like every time I think of The Disaster Artist, I always feel like they really are just making fun of this poor man who genuinely is trying for something that he's passionate about and he's doing and he feels full of love, and then all we're doing is going, look at this asshole.
But at the same time, they're also saying like it's important to dream and follow your dreams. Look how brave he was to follow his dreams.
And look at
but
how
then
we're making fun of him
for how he accomplished it.
Oh, look at his little dreams. Let's pee on him.
It does seem like he's a strange man. But I just didn't really care for it.
That's not a good enough reason.
I've made a movie. It wasn't very particularly good, but it was extremely difficult. And if somebody made a movie making fun of me for making that movie, and like analyzing my psychology based on my weird toaster horror movie, then I don't know. I liked Ed Wood a lot better. Ed Wood was a much better film. Did the same thing.
Anyway,
here we go. Another film it's the only nomination. Logan.
Michael
Green, James Mangold. Scott Frank. Green and Mangold have, this is their first nomination. Frank has 2. This is based on the characters from the X-Men comic books and motion pictures. Interestingly enough, this is an Academy Award caliber film where the sequel was it's a sequel to a movie that was a Razzie caliber film.
Well, the two before it were Razzies, were they not?
Well, X-Men Origins Wolverine would have been the
Razzie.
Oh yeah, and then the
Was,
Wolverine.
yeah.
I don't know that the Wolverine was Razzie worthy, but I don't remember anything about it. I fell asleep.
That's why.
Yeah, but this was basically them saying, let's make one that's an Oscar caliber superhero movie,
or let's just make a good Logan movie. Like,
no, but
how many times do they have to retry Wolverine to make him fucking cool?
Yeah, but they straight up said, let's make it Oscar caliber, and they did. They made an Oscar caliber superhero movie. It's the first time we've seen that since the Batman series, the Nolan Batman series.
Logan was great. I feel like the writing end of it was superb.
Yeah.
I feel like they adapted the comic book really well.
Yeah, and it was much more based on the comics this time than it was the movies.
Well, that, and it also is based on the internal struggle of what am I supposed to do right now, and I'm aging and
right. Yeah, it had great themes. Mudbound, which is Dee Reese and Virgil Williams. It's their first nomination. It's based on the novel Mudbound by Hilary Jordan. The biggest difference between these, without giving anything away, is the ending, and also that they spent more time focusing on the black family than the book did.
In the movie, they spent more time.
Yes, yeah, because the book is written by a white woman, and the screenplay was by the director and the screenwriter, and they both African American, and so they had a different point of view, and were able to bring that. The book was not particularly popular.
That's because you're reading about one side that we all know about. Like, we have history books about this side of history. Do you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
The whole purpose of Mudbound, and the reason why I think it was worthy of the nomination, is because of the interaction between the two people, especially the friendship that was formed. So that was worthy enough for me, and it does make me disappointed, and I would have loved it more if I was able to have a better focus on Mary J. Blige's character rather than her coming in for her set amount of time, shining, and done.
Sure, I think it's somewhat of a pedestrian story, and I think that's from the novel. It feels like it to me, and it does have some really good themes. And there's some great scenes in it. There's
good acting in it, too.
There's a reason it's not nominated for Best Picture, but it has lots of nominations. It totally deserves every nomination it gets, and it should have gotten a couple more. We'll talk about that later, maybe. But it's somewhat pedestrian. So out of those, for me, it's Molly's Game. What about you, Stella?
I can't tell if Jessica Chastain was really the driving force of why I love Molly's Game so much. If it was a different strong actress playing Molly, would I have liked it as much? I think
if it was Jennifer Lawrence, you would have loved it. I think if it was Nicole Kidman, she's
Emma Watson,
but I like her. Emma Watson, I think you would have loved it.
Emma Stone,
you would have loved it.
Probably. I mean, I do like the character in the first place because it's a really strong female, and you're writing about this woman who's just trying to survive at this point, who's been betrayed by a lot of people, and then you also have Logan, which I think was excellent. It made me I actually had more empathy throughout the whole movie with Logan, not just because it's Wolverine and stuff, and Patrick Stewart and all them, but because of the struggle that's really going on internally, rather than Molly surviving. So Logan,
I gotcha. See, I'm a big fan of Aaron Sorkin's writing. I don't necessarily like everything. I haven't watched all of West Wing. I loved Sports Night. I think he was the star, and Jessica Chastain had to be a bigger star than he was. It's his first.
Jessica Chastain, of course she does.
It's his directorial debut, too, notably. What are the Vegas odds say? I already know it's going to be Call Me By Your Name, right?
Yes, it is. Yes. Followed by Mudbound. Call Me By Your Name is actually a 14-1 odd, or 1 to 14 odd, rather than Mudbound's 12 to 1, and it's also getting the popular bet. Whoa. Call Me By Your Name's getting the most popular bets by 64.7%. It is dominating the bets.
Yeah. Not surprising, really. I think that's the category that it best deserves to be in, to be honest with you. Original screenplay. We've got Lady Bird, which is Greta Gerwig, also nominated for Best Director. She is an actress with 41 credits, including Frances Ha. If you ever saw Frances Ha, she was Frances Ha in that movie. Get Out, Jordan Peele, also nominated for directing and Best Picture. This is his first movie that he's written the screenplay for or directed. Of course, he's done other things like Keanu and things like that. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Martin McDonagh. He's also nominated for Best Picture. 4 nominations, 1 win. He's a playwright known in the film world for his Oscar-winning short film Six Shooter and for the film Seven Psychopaths. So if you're a fan of Seven Psychopaths, same writer. The Big Sick, Kumail Nanjiani and Emily V. Gordon. That's their first nomination. It's based on their the first month, I guess, of their relationship together in real life. And then The Shape of Water, Guillermo del Toro and Vanessa Taylor. Del Toro is also nominated for Best Director, Best Picture. He has 1 nomination, only 1 nomination previously. You understand that? Del Toro has only been nominated 1 time before, and it was for El Laberinto del Fan, which is Fano. El Laberinto del Fano, which is the Faun's Labyrinth or Pan's Labyrinth, and Taylor's first nomination. This is a great category for me.
It's strong all around. It's hard to pick a really good one.
Yeah, this is one of the tightest categories. I tell you, there's 2 people that I would love to see win, personally, which would either be Jordan Peele or Kumail Nanjiani and Emily V. Gordon. Big fan of comedy world, so Get Out and The Big Sick stood out a lot as sort of cross genres driven by comedy voices. And I'd love to see either of them win.
It's tough. I want to see Get Out win. I think that it was a gripping thriller as much as it was a comedy. I guess I don't know. I can't find parts of it as funny as
well. There was a lot of controversy about it being nominated for Best Comedy in the Golden Globes. But I remember because everybody assumed that Jordan Peele was directing a comedy, and they asked him at one point, "Is it a comedy?" And Jordan Peele's response was, "Well, black people think it's funny." Which I think there are, if you're, and I hate to use a term, but he used the term when he spoke about the characters and how he wanted the characters to be woke. And if you're woke, I know I sound so stupid saying that, but if you're woke, quote unquote, if you're in on the joke, then you think it's funny.
And that's the thing.
It's scary, but it's funny.
But that's the thing is, like, I think the realism of it, it's so realistic that I can't find it funny. Like,
it's not funny all the way through.
No, but there are sections of it that I'm just kind of like, oh my gosh, really, I can't believe this. And it is supposed to be parts of it funny. But, I mean, Shape of Water is also one of the best ones, so Del Toro is probably, I feel like Del Toro is going to sweep through it.
I have problems with 3 Billboards. We'll talk about those when we get to
3 Billboards
Picture.
Is so good.
But the writing's very good. And, of course, Lady Bird is just a really great coming-of-age story, and it's so detailed and I don't know. Greta Gerwig did a great job.
But yeah, so Vegas odds.
The characters are freaking fantastic in that too.
Get Out, we're looking at a 4 to 6 odds with 3 Billboards looking at a 2 to 1. But most popular bet right now is Get Out by 60.5. It's dominating. So I would love Get Out to win because I think Jordan Peele deserves this win. I don't know if he's going to get it in anything else, but I do think he deserves this. Yeah.
Fantastic category, one way or the other. So then director, we've got from Lady Bird, again, Greta Gerwig. Get Out, Jordan Peele. We have Phantom Threads, Paul Thomas Anderson. He's also nominated for Best Picture. He has 8 nominations. Dunkirk, which is Christopher Nolan, also nominated for Best Picture. He has 5 nominations under his belt. And The Shape of Water with Guillermo del Toro. Man, another tight category. It's just, it's really, I mean, you got Paul Thomas Anderson, who started off as sort of like a hotshot. He was doing things like, what was that porno film?
Zack and Mary Make a Porno?
No, he didn't do Zack and Mary Make a Boogie Nights.
Okay. Fuck.
Boogie Nights. I do have problems with because I don't know what happened when he was with Fiona Apple, but she's just not the same anymore. I don't know if that has anything to do with him, but I just miss the old Fiona. Lady Bird is fantastic. Greta Gerwig just dominated that script.
She nailed it.
Jordan Peele wrote a perfect script, and directed it perfectly. Dunkirk, Christopher Nolan. It's Christopher Nolan. It's going to be his year. You know, it was going to be his year. I don't know if it's still his year.
It's not.
And then The Shape of Water, Guillermo del Toro. It seems like it's his year too. It's his time. So who do you think, Stella?
Del Toro's going to pull it out of the hat. I really think he's going to win. And the only upset would be if, I guess it wouldn't necessarily be an upset, but Jordan Peele, I think, is the second runner-up to win this. I think Jordan Peele, I don't know, I feel bad because he does have an alternate ending, which is the honest ending. It was the original ending, which I kind of like more. Yeah,
well, I like the ending that they had in it, too.
I appreciated the ending that they had in it, too, and having watched the whole movie.
And again, it was another comic moment.
I really liked it, but, well, yeah, and it makes it funnier, makes it more lighthearted, but I think the other ending was more honest and it would have been more true.
Sure. So what do the Vegas odds say?
Wait, you didn't say what you wanted.
I thought that you just told me that. I thought that was your answer right there.
You didn't say what you wanted.
Oh, me? Well, I want Jordan Peele to win.
Okay.
But I think it's going to go to Guillermo del Toro, and he deserves it. So I don't, any of those people win, I'm not going to be upset. Christopher Nolan wins, I'm going to be happy for Christopher Nolan. He's great.
Yeah, there's no wrong answer.
Right. I'll hope that Fiona's not watching. Poor Fiona Apple.
Del Toro is looking to win at a 1 to 10 odds, followed by Nolan.
Hey, so Jordan Peele's actually...
He's actually pretty far down at a 40 to 1 or 50 to 1, depending on what one you're looking at.
Because chances are he's going to win.
And then randomly, just for funsies, Alexander Payne for Downsizing. 500 to 1 odd. Super fun.
Downsizing was nominated, so I think those people lost their bet.
Which is really funny.
Tune in next time.
Most popular bet, Del Toro is winning.
Okay.
Followed by Lady Bird. Go ahead.
There we go. So tune in next time. We're going to talk about the stars, the faces of the films.